and I'm going to transfer it to you. Okay, so we're going to hit recording. Got it. Okay, so we're live. Good morning, everyone. We are going to be doing something really exciting today. Chitra has decided to do some exciting videos here, so bear with me for a second. We're recording now. We're going to transfer the hosting capabilities over to Chitra because she has spent all night doing some incredible stuff here. Ha ha ha. All right, so now you're the host. There you go, and we're recording, so take it away, Chitra.
Thank you, Desiree, and hello, Tami, and good day, everyone. Wherever you might be in the globe joining us, thank you for making the time and joining us in this conversation. We are doing, this is the second day in a row where we are having our monthly conversations on NDILC principles, leadership principles. And today's topic is prepare for the future. We thought we'll shake it up a bit, given it's just an intimate, cozy conversation between Desiree, Tami, and me, and everyone else who is joining us virtually. So what we will do is the following. Each of us has selected a bunch of content, a TED Talk that has influence, that has given us new insights, images that have spurred new thoughts about preparing for the future. And we are going to share them with you and use that as an anchor in our conversation, and let us all react, watch it together. It's a collective shared experience, and we will go around the meeting room and talk about our reaction to what we just heard and make this as a fun and engaging conversation. So thank you, Tami and Desiree, for being partners in this experiment. Okay, so today's topic is prepare for the future. Typically, when we had done this in the previous years, we focused on preparing for the future. It's all about self. How does one prepare for the future that is ahead of us, either in terms of increasing our technical competence or in leadership capabilities? But today we have expanded our aperture, so to speak. So we are going to be touching on preparing for the future, preparing self for the future, preparing our community for the future, preparing our globe for the future. So it's going to be an exciting conversation, I hope. So let me start with my first clip. As I started thinking about today's conversation, I went back to a talk I had listened to given by a presentation given by Dr. Meg Jay. She's a clinical psychologist and a professor at the University of Virginia. And I'm going to play a clip and you will see why I liked it. And it is really, she sets it out as essential questions for your future self. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Are you seeing my screen, yes. Desiree and Tami?
I see a black screen, but it says it's sharing. It hasn't said it started screen sharing, but it doesn't show anything yet. We don't see it.
It doesn't show.
We show a black screen. So we say Chitra has started screen sharing, but the actual image is not coming up.
So this is, you should see a browser. The control has gone away, Desiree. I'm unable to use my mouse with this.
Hold on. That could be I have no. It says you're the host. That's all I have down here. So I'm not sure what else we could do. If you want to send me the chat, I could play it for you. But right now it says that you're the host.
Okay, let's try again.
Maybe you can put it in the chat and play it from the chat.
Yeah, let's see. One more try, and then we will do. Let me get the clip going and put it in here. Chat. And let me. Are you able to
There you
share?
go. Now we can do it. Yes,
we can see
perfect,
it.
perfect.
Awesome. So I'm just going to cue it up so that let's listen for a minute of the first one.
Can't hear. I can't hear it, Chitra.
You can't hear. I
Can't
see.
hear it.
Let's see.
I think it has something to do with you. Your computer versus in try your volume control on your settings versus in that thing, because it looks like it's on for the video.
It is on for the video. It is speaking,
Right,
and the
try-
volume is at max, and still not. You are unable to hear.
No.
Unable to hear. Try the volume from your computer because it
I
might be.
did.
Okay.
Max. Volume is of the computer is at max. No.
Huh.
No, so if you try, yeah, you're setting on your computer and you're setting on the TED Play. Interesting.
So why don't you? Okay, stop sharing. Desiree, can you try?
Yes, I can try. Hold on.
I have to make you host, I guess. I did.
Okay, let's see.
I could hear volume right then.
About the empathy gap.
Okay, yeah. So
So
here
the
we
empathy
go. Okay,
is
hold
why
on.
we
Let me
sometimes
stop
hate on
her.
people on the other end.
But I have to share my screen, so hold on. Bear with us all. This is all gonna be fun. Okay, so I'm now the host, and so I have to share is what you want me to do. Wait a second, I'm on the wrong screen here. Gosh. Okay, here we are. Live chat here. Okay, so we have that. We want me to share is so we want to share mine. I want multiple can share. So multiple participants can share simultaneously. There we go. That's what you wanted me to do. All right, so now we're going to go into the screen that you want me to see, where I can see which one do I want to share. We don't want to share that one. I've got to go find. Okay, so we're going to go see my Facebook live feed, which is all cool, but we're going to go see to where I don't see that, and we're going to go see not see that, and here we are. So you can see my screen now.
Spectrum. Or it's why maybe we shrug our shoulders at the
Can you hear it?
problems of
See it?
those who look
Can hear it,
different
we can't see it.
or live different or love
Okay,
different
so
than we do. It's why we almost certainly aren't doing enough.
okay, so what do we see? Okay, so stop share. Your screen sharing has to be paused. Okay, don't want to pause it. Why are you not allowing me to share?
To protect our kids and grandkids from climate change. It can just be difficult sometimes to care about people that we don't know or to do right by people who don't even exist yet. But
Can you,
I told you,
Desiree, can you open a new tab and copy that link?
get in the way of us doing right by
Or
ourselves.
it's playing in a different browser.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and okay, so I have it here, but what it's doing is, you're right, it's doing a different browser, and I've got to find that browser. And so hang on, guys. Why don't we have Tami to share her, does Tami want to share her books while I'm getting this done, so we can keep that going till I find it, and then we can interrupt, or you want to do that? You want to wait for me to try? Hold on, I'm trying.
Yeah, let's see.
See how fun this is? I mean, here we are trying. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna do the share again. We're gonna share my screen. Here it is. Okay, so I got it. We're sharing it. You see my screen now?
Yep,
And beyond.
very good.
Yes. If you can
Before I go on,
make it full screen
we're about to talk about
and cue it up at 4
well beyond our 20s.
4 minutes?
But for a little bit,
2 minutes,
reality,
2 minutes and 44 seconds.
saving for retirement isn't something that costs strangers. And that's where the empathy gap comes in. It can be difficult for us to care about a version of ourselves
There.
that we haven't met yet. Yet, research also shows that if we find a way to close that empathy gap between our present selves and our future selves, we start to think more about what we could do now to be kind to ourselves down the line. So in one of my favorite studies on this, researchers used virtual reality to show 20-somethings what they would look like when they're old. Scary, I know, but the 20-somethings who saw their age-morphed selves set aside more money towards retirement than those who didn't. So I don't have virtual reality in my office, and saving for retirement isn't something that comes up a whole lot. But what does come up a whole lot is that about 85% of life's most defining moments take place by around age 35. So I asked my clients to imagine themselves at age 35, and I asked them to believe in their ability to have created those defining moments. And then I asked them to get really specific about what they see. What do I look like? Where do I live? What do I do for work? Do I enjoy the work? Is it meaningful? Is it important? Does it pay well? Might these things be true one day? Which of these things do I really care about? What about after work? Who do I come home to? Do I have a partner? What does that relationship look like? How does it look different or similar to the ones that I saw growing up? Are there kids in the picture? How old was I when I had my first child? How old might I be when that child goes to college or has their own kids? And of course, am I happy? Am I healthy? And what exactly do I do or not do that makes me happy and healthy? So the idea here is just to try to get to know your future self, because when we spend time connecting with that person, we do some reverse engineering and we start to ask our present self questions about how our present and our future can come together or meet somewhere in the middle along.
You can pause here, Desiree. That's a very... Thank you. So I hope you enjoyed the short clip. When I listened to it, I had listened to this entire thing just in that segment, right? Between that 2 minutes and 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes. The three important points that jumped out at me, what she was talking about. One is, in order to prepare for the future, we have to envision our future selves, right? In great details, so that we can compare where we are today and how do we prepare ourselves to become that future selves. The second point is she talked about this virtual reality experiment, right? So by knowing where we want to be, we were actually better, we were preparing better for ourselves. So she talks about the 20-somethings setting aside a better retirement plan when they envision how the future would look like. All right. And the third interesting point is, I think the most critical point for me is that the notion of empathy. If we can imagine ourselves in the future, then we can be actually much kinder to ourselves and to others. Because in our vision of our future, we see ourselves transformed in a certain way. We see ourselves in a very specific detail. And that gives us enough of an information in order to reverse engineer where we are. And we can take a measure of how we are doing today and how we can be kinder to ourselves. Those are the things that jumped at me. So now, Tami, Desiree, Tami, jump in. Yeah.
I actually love that. And I teach on a regular basis, similar, not the same thing, of, literally picture yourself 5 years from now. A lot of times people can't set up a short-term goal because it sounds like it's not doable. It's too soon, it's too close. But if you can picture yourself, so I do this exercise from time to time, even with our people, close your eyes and picture yourself 5 years from now. Where do you live? What do you look like? What's your health like? What are you doing for a living? Are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Very different. What are your relationships like with your significant other, your family, really close people, your coworkers? What are those relationships like? Visualize as much as you possibly can with your eyes closed. Try and picture the entire thing. And I can tell you that it's amazing. The very first time I did it, almost 5 years to the day, I had it all written down on a piece of paper. And as I was unpacking, moving into a house, I found this piece of paper. And the house I described 5 years earlier was the home I was moving into. And I didn't even remember writing it. But so many of the things came true because you started preparing yourself in that direction. And without even knowing it, we're focused on that deliberate intent. And I think that too often people live by default. And if you can plan in advance, and the more excited you are about it, and then, even from now, if you have a goal that's 3 years from now or 5 years from now, it could be a physical goal, or it could be leading a company. Every time I think of you, Chitra, I think of you creating this company and creating this technology to help save people with Alzheimer's and to really focus on the brain. And I can see the passion in you. I can see the light in your eyes. That's when you know you're on your path. I think all of us were put here to do something specific and live these very purposeful lives, but most people live by default. You found your passion, you found that delivery, and by doing that, you light up every time you think about it, so that you're burning it into your neural pathways. You're burning it into yourself so that it's become a part of you. And you can very clearly see that. I have a woman that I do some things with from time to time. Her name is Connie Myers, and she wrote this book on crisis knowledge management. And she had worked for FEMA, and her dream is to help 30 million people, help protect 30 million people by them being prepared for a crisis. And it doesn't matter if that's a climate change crisis or what it is, but she's got that dream and that vision out there all the time. So now she's asking herself, in what ways can I touch 30 million people? How do I turn myself into a hologram? And I can see that you're doing it with Amicus Brain, that you're just literally, how can we take this a step further? How can we explore going further than where we are, so that we can get to what my goal was? And everyone should have that level of passion. Everyone should have something like that that is so purposeful, that they're looking for. But you really have to visualize it. When I can close my eyes and say, December 31st, 2025, I've accomplished all these things that I had set. How do I feel? And you take that emotion with you, even when you're having a tough day, you're going to stick with it, because the emotion is what's going to push you through. The emotion keeps you in motion. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, wonderful. And thank you for, talking about Amicus Brain and his mission. Something what you said spoke to me. It's a priority in that envisioning ourselves in such excruciating detail that you spoke about. That was fantastic. Going through that list, actually, many of them will follow when we imagine ourselves in that 2025 or 2030. There's some things that are going to be true to ourselves and that remain. And that sets for us, I think, the priority, in terms of how do we march. For me, when I heard you, that's what in planning it in such great depth helps us to separate the important things from the unimportant things.
Right.
Desiree, what about you?
Well, I go back to your statement, and I love what Tami had to say, and I love your analogy of the specifics, because as you talk, Chitra, you always talk looking up, because it's kind of like you're in the clouds, seeing the vision and the core, what's being said, and then you focus to say it to the people. And the idea is that you made a comment as saying, when you were teaching all the younger generation, the STEMs, the children that you want to mentor to go forward, you talk about, the age gap of, okay, so here they are at young age versus and what it's going to be like when they're 50 or 60 versus and having someone who's a college student coming in and teaching then the high school student, because the age gap is very minimal versus and very large at how you go with it. And it really spoke to me, because what the woman just said on TED Talk is that she said, imagine yourself at your 35 versus then at 20. Well, are you imagining about taking care of your parents, like Amicus Brain for the care providers, which is my fear? Who's going to take care of all these people getting older as a real estate community? 58 is the average age. So who's going to take care of us if we can't be out there doing our job? If we have to take care of the choice of taking care of our parents, taking care of our children, versus what we're doing. So that correlation on what is our self going to be at a younger age that is more attainable of thought, and not from a we're always taught about the financial side. What are you going to plan for your retirement? What are you going to do for the money side? She broke it down to, what are you going to do with your partner when you come home? Are you going to have furry ones there? What are you going to do with your free time? What are you going to do with your time of everything? Do you love your job? Do you like who you work with? How much time do you spend work versus at home? So I got all of that out of it. And to be honest, I'm in that middle change right now, going through of changing my financial advisors, changing my whole platform. What am I doing? Am I speaking everywhere, or am I taking action behind the scenes? And as Tami said, am I envisioning my world? And what does that look like? Am I doing it? And that's the core of what I've been doing the last 5 months in 2022. It's about action. It's about accountability. We can talk the talk. We can go out and help, but let's do something, because I see myself creating my dream of a community that we can live and transition and help all these different things to come together. So that's what I got out of it. And it's really cool because it's not like I'm the only one thinking of this. Everyone else has a different purpose and place of explaining it. And that's what spoke to me. The other thing was the emotion. How the third thing for me is that the passion that Tami talked about, and the passion that you have, Chitra, and the passion, if you think of every NDILC person that we have, every one of us, we're connected by our passion of our heart of what we're doing and why we do what we do, and the love of what we do. And the amount of hours we put in, in doing what we do, is that sometimes we have to pull back and think about our health and our mind before we continue what we're doing, because we forget we are only human. We're not a machine in how we're doing it. So that to me was very relatable in this way of the full, prepare for the future. Our challenges can be our mind and our body, and not just be, the aspect of what we're talking about here. So excellent. I love this.
So Tami, you've been mentoring amazing number of people, incredible number of people. One thing, but whenever I listen to you, what I take away is that very concrete, implementable steps in order to visualize as well as to realize it. So I think it's often easier to daydream and imagine. How do you translate that into something you can achieve, Tami? How do you help us?
Well, I'm going to backtrack that. And I think that it is really important. I think, when you have a dream and you have a vision of where you want to go, then you've got to just be making small steps on a regular basis to head in that direction. And so you could keep asking yourself those effective questions. Is what I'm doing today taking me to where I want to be tomorrow? I've recommended this my whole life, and I've had the opportunity to break some records in different areas of business. And I think that, personally, and I think that part of that is having an action plan. Desiree just mentioned it, the road to hell was paved with good intentions, but if we don't do anything about those good intentions, we're not going to get anywhere. And so every month I work on my life, not in it. And I book off 4 hours halfway through the month to plan in advance over the next 6 weeks, roughly. So the 15th of August, and it's never an exact, but the 15th of August, I will plan until the end of September. And then halfway through September, I'll plan until the end of October. And I literally, how can I bring my world to life so that, how can I activate it? That I'm going to come out and be with you both beautiful women in November. How can we make the most out of that experience? Who should we be inviting? Who should we be talking to? What should we be talking about when we're there? What do we need to do to be prepared? Do we need to read stuff, listen to podcasts? Who should we be learning from? Who should we be having conversations with? But it could be something like the conference coming up in November, or it could be that you have a family event this weekend. How do I make everybody feel like $1 million? Because it's always the experience that ends up with the wow factor. It's not really the stuff, right? It's not really the things. It's not the stuff you buy for everybody. It's the experience that you can collectively share. And so how can I make this a wow experience? How can I make those people feel like $1 million? How can I make them feel so valued? And so if you do that every month, and personally and professionally, so, how do I make my daughter feel great about herself and know that she's in a really good place for where she is in her age and everything else, and really see what she's accomplished so far so that she continues to go forward. rating yourself on your relationships on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are my friendships? Is my relationship with my significant other, with my children, with my grandchildren, with my coworkers? And then it's asking yourself those effective questions. So how do I get from a 6 to a 7 with this person? How do I get from a 7 to an 8 with this person? Because we can always fine tune it and constantly grow. And you'll start to see gaps in your life. You'll start to see where there's some holes that you might need to put some work into. And I find that if you do it every single month, you get better at it every month. Even coaching some of the top 500 power brokers in the country, they fall off the wagon after a couple of months, and now they're only doing it once every quarter instead of every single month. And yet this is helping you to literally live with deliberate intent. And I find when you do that, you just confidence comes from competence. And the more confident you are, the more you're going to succeed. It doesn't mean that you're not going to hit a wall, and it doesn't mean that we're not going to hit surprises. I mean, obviously, COVID was a giant surprise, but the people that are going to adapt and pivot and maneuver and adjust better and faster are the people that already have confidence and that are focused on everything that they can control. And this starts to give you that level of control.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in on that, Chicha, on Tami's comment, if you don't mind. It's very interesting because we just had a walk with my younger son who moved out 2 years ago, been an empty nester, and he just started a new job as an auditor, and he was feeling a little bit nervous and everything about it. And I was on Clubhouse, as I was walking with the dogs to keep the noise from all the things going on at Camp Pendleton. They're shooting the things, and my dogs get really scary and everything. And so I was talking, and my son stops and pauses and go, "Mom, you have this ability to come with confidence and strength and excitement and always feel energized and find the good in people versus in the bad in people and just go wild." And here was my son that I've been trying to connect with, and having, that period of time where sometimes as parents, we have this ability to be relatable to them, I'll say sometimes, and you have this disconnect. And to your point, Tami, you're talking about the juice and how do you make someone feel like $1 million? Here, the conversation wasn't directed to him. It was directed at just me being me. I believe that it's all about the experience now. It's all about how you make people feel, and they remember the feeling you left with them, like what we did 3 years ago. And hence, that's why we started the NDILC Principles, to have that conversation every month versus then, wait for another year that ended up being 3 years. And so the story is not about me. It's just that I realized it's just being alive and being energized and putting the juice back into the family or the office or the community that we work in, to keep everyone alive, because we do fall up the turnip truck on a regular basis, and we need someone to say, "Hey, you're feeling good, so I'm going to adjust to the energy that someone else brings." So thank you for that, and it was really relatable.
Yeah, it was very kind of you to share. That was that is a reality, right? The separation and coming together, and you are seeing yourself from your son's eyes. That's a very fascinating thing. So I thought having listened to Meg and Dr. J and Tami speak about this whole preparing for the future in concrete ways of achieving it, I thought we can actually allow ourselves daydream, prepare for the future. One of the things Desiree brought to my attention when I was discussing about our conversation today is she brought up this topic of what would be the future be if women were to organize it, women were to design the future. And I thought that's a great segue into allowing ourselves to be thinking about what the future can be, right? So it's not an amorphous, I want to be something, but here is the way the world is, the globe is trending. And then in that context, what is my future self is going to be? So Tami, Desiree, game to look into what some of the future can be if women were to design. So Desiree, will you queue up that video with Desiree you had shared? I have the link here.
Yeah, if you could please share it with me real quick, so that'd be great. And I'll go try and do that again. We're gonna do round 2 to see if Desiree can do this quicker and faster.
Now you're a pro.
No, let's not go there. Okay, let's just try this. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Okay, so we're gonna stop this one. Okay, hold on. And we got to go back. Naturally, I don't have my mouse, so we got to do this back, and we got to go to hit the share, and share the screen is going to be here. So we hit the share. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, and if you want to, I think you had suggested moving forward to 6 minutes.
But I did see a lot of communication job site with the same, our power.
Okay, right there. Hold on. This is really, I had to watch it twice.
So
hold on.
Lonely tradeswomen. There
we go. Isn't that incredible?
Awesome.
I didn't know how long you wanted to play, Chitra, but yeah, I mean, 1,400 women they've put through 150 homes they built and donated. And if you think of the power, I lived on a boat for 18 years and it was solid mahogany, 44 feet long. And I learned to wrap and cut wood by hand in the sense that without any guides, she'd do the curves, the bends and the steel and all that kind of stuff and do molding of it. And it is so powerful to be able to build and the stuff that you talk about, Chitra, and the stemming of it's about the physical size and not about always the software size of dealing with, STEM design. And here we are, these are building. And how bad do we need construction help in the real estate sector, Tami?
Unbelievable.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when I saw that video, it just spoke to me.
Yeah. And very pertinent to our conversation, right? So for me, when I listen to this video, so we should actually, the point that was the reinforcing, got reinforced is that we don't even have to wait for the future. We have to make the future happen now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are envisioning a change, a transformation that wish to see, we need to be working towards it now. We need to seed it now. And we need to nurture and we need to sponsor and advocate for it so that in the future, that becomes the default, that becomes the de rigueur. I'm so impressed. I loved seeing that and construction. Yeah, so many different things that came together in that video.
Well, think of Tami. Tami, you have this. You started the technology. You have the car. You did the fun races with the little exit cars that you have. That I still am waiting for mine. Just FYI, I could use it here in California very easily in Woodbridge with all the golf carts here. But the idea is that here we are trying to find trades to help the average seller sell a property, and we have all these platforms come up like Punchlist and all these different technology softwares that come in that say we'll take care of all the issues, and half the time we spend trying to figure out how we can have someone come in there. Imagine if we as a platform, the brokerage itself, offered training skill sets so you are you're not the general contractor, but you understand the fundamentals. You understand that you can pick up a hammer and do that, like Habitat Humanitarian, all the work that you guys have given $4 million and $6 million, all these different trades, and you have your people go out and help. The idea is that we all should know how to do basic construction. We all should know in time of disaster, in time of survival. And that's the whole value I saw in that, saying that everyone should have not a feel of picking up a hammer or a saw or operating heavy equipment. It's heavy equipment because it's heavy, not because we need heavy power to move it.
Right. I think that goes back to that need to be self-sufficient. There's no doubt that we should all become self-sufficient. But I also love the fact that we can point towards her and give back by using the people she raised up, right?
Right.
So not everybody has to do it, but we can give back by providing them with the opportunity and making other people aware of it. I love that.
Well, that's kind of this conversation we had before we started. about, you know, allocating these transitional housing places to do sweat equity, to have six different ways of having rev gen coming into the community of the project, right? We start doing that and I love what you have done. And Chitra's bringing in the opportunity of how do we provide care? Well, if the community all chimes in to provide that care, and staying at home, which is what her app is, you know, helping, what would that bring to the real estate? The aging population has to be somewhere, and real estate has to provide that in some capacity. So if we help, then the care providers become part of the community, because when you're raising a baby, you have care providers. When they have you know, disabilities or issues that they can't walk, or maybe their minds are not 100% like they used to be, they also need care providers. It could work together. And I always say that if you're around people who are smarter, you get smarter. Well, we all know that. Well, what about if you're around people who are younger? They keep you young, just like our dogs. They keep you, okay, got to get up off the couch, got to go walk the dogs, got to go do this. Sorry. It's your show, Ginger. I got me going.
Oh, the numbers are staggering, right? Over the course, there are 58 million Americans today caring for someone else in their family, in their friend circle, regardless of the age. And, you know, close to 40 plus or specifically caring for an adult 50 and older. So we are all, so it's a staggering number. And she makes that point, which is what, unfortunately, the babysitters and the tasks are monumental and profound, but unfortunately the pay, there is a huge gap in terms of recognition of that work. That needs to fundamentally change. So Tami, I want to talk about the books you wanted to share. So how do we now, do you have that book with you?
I have the books in front of me, so we don't
then you can just listen to.
We don't have to sweat technology again. But
yes.
I just wanted to bring up a couple of books that I think for anybody trying to decide, you know, people really want to be, and COVID probably emphasized that even more. People want to really live a purpose-driven life. They want to have a sense of purpose, and they want to have a passion project. And, you know, it doesn't even have to be what you do for a living. Real estate could be what provides you the opportunity to do what your passion project is, right? It doesn't have to be that that's listing and selling real estate. Where I am, we strongly believe that we build people, and the rest will follow if we build people. But knowing what you're dreaming about, daring to dream about things, and really planning for your future. And I mean, literally, so that you're fulfilled and you're living a passion project. People aren't going to follow somebody that's not constantly growing. People aren't going to follow somebody that doesn't have a mission or a plan. And so when you can share the mission, when your face lights up, Chitra, I want to come work for you. You know, and when you get so passionate and so caught up in what you're doing, that's what you want. You want somebody to want it so bad that they can't wait to come and be part of the solution with you and be part of that. So there's a great book. It's called The Bucket List Journal. And, you know, I know everybody talks about that they've got to wait till they're 60 and then they're going to put together a bucket list so they can do all the things that they weren't going to do. But it's actually for everything in your life that you really want to have better. Better relationships, better experiences. My favorite, because we all have dreams, and then if someone else tries to knock your dream because they're trying to live the status quo and stay in a lane, you've got to be strong enough. So Zig Ziglar said, don't let someone who gave up on their dreams talk you out of going after yours. And it is definitely one of my favorite quotes ever. But it's a great journal that you have to actually fill in the blanks. You have to think about what it is that you want, and you have to do cause and effect and know why. Simon Sinek's Start With Why. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So when I listen to your why, Desiree, when I listen to your why, Chitra, I hear that passion come out. I hear that, you literally even almost sometimes talk too fast to understand because you're so passionate about it, and you slow yourself down and realize, okay, everybody else isn't completely on my page yet. And it's because you know exactly why you were put here and the projects that you really want to work on. And the more you grow, right? So Start With Why is really good. But he also wrote a book called Find Your Why. And you can do it with a civic organization. You can do it in a group in your company. You can do it on your own. But it really helps to ask yourself some really good questions that help you to really determine that. I know that my job, what it is that I'm to do, what I was put here for, is to point people in the right direction, to show them who they can become. Sometimes that's a 5% adjustment and it's just something they just didn't see. And sometimes it's a complete 180 from where they are. But yes, my responsibility is to build the company that I run, but truthfully, it's building it one person at a time and showing them who they can become. That is really where the purpose for me is. And I think these books really help you to uncover it, but it also helps you to keep it top of mind, because it's so easy to go back and live by default. And I think now more than ever, coming out of COVID, there are so many people that are really sitting there saying, what is my legacy? What am I leaving behind? What do I really want? And so many people are saying they want to live a life of meaning. They want to belong to an organization that has values. They want to live some purposeful way. And so a lot of this preparing for the future needs to be for those things. We can cure a lot of things that are here. We don't have to be the naysayers that say it can't be done, so that, you've heard the stats, Chitra, of how many people they expect to have Alzheimer's and all this increased number and all that. But you know what? If we start taking better care of ourselves and we have better care for everybody earlier on, we're not going to have those problems. So I also think part of paying attention to the future and being part of leadership is to deliver hope.
Yeah, caring for oneself now. Yeah. So that's so beautifully lovely. Yeah, beautifully said, Tami. For just listening to you, the core of it, the centerpiece is purpose, right? Isn't that what? Find out why, why? When we know the why, all the doubts and misgivings and the naysayers all fall by the wayside, because we know there is a purpose. There is a purpose to what we are doing today and what we will be doing. So it's beautifully put. Recently, someone asked me to describe my company, and there's so many words to describe, and I settled on it. I thought I'll share it with you because you actually spoke to all of them. The first and foremost, I said, led by values, right? Amicus Brain is about delivering, changing that care management. And so it's therefore we are always going to be led by values, and then purposeful innovation. And the third was people first, and you said them all. So I was like, how so much aligned. I think when you start distilling the essence of our passion, regardless of the sector we work in, we will land on these very common human traits, human things, that why we do what we do. Desiree?
So Tami, you had a very profound moment with me a couple months ago, and maybe it's only a couple weeks ago, I can't even think. Yeah, I'm like, hello, get it together. I'm on a sleep diet, everyone, for 30 days. It's been pretty intense. So Kelly asked, Desiree, can you write something? Can you put it down? What you're thinking about, blah, 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 blah. And you came out, Tami, out of the middle of nowhere and said, no, you don't understand, Desiree, how her mind works. It's all over the place. But just trust me. And I don't know exactly what you said, and I can't paraphrase it right now for everyone. But that moment was so profound to me, how you made me feel, because then I realized I had affected you, and you clearly understood my why sometimes is not elegantly transmitted, but the idea was you have so much faith in me that I could sense that the joy of 1,000 hugs was coming, because you stood up and said, that's not going to happen, but just go with the flow. Kind of is the way it went with me. And so it was
process. Yeah.
Right. And it was so cool, because it was just a moment that I don't know if you realized, but it hit me so hard that I could do nothing but talk about it for the rest of the couple of days, because it was such a moment for me. So I just want to let you know, when you say how someone makes you feel and how the why, you understand my why, and I see it in your conversations that are these moments. So I wanted to thank you.
Thank you.
And you show you're about people, and you do one at a time. And we just celebrate our 6-year anniversary together on the council. I mean, think about it. Yesterday, I mean, it came up a day, and we forget those moments. And that's why music to me is a #1 communication. If you think about How does someone make you feel? How do you hear them? What does it do? What is the most resonant thing that through audio we change, right? Because Zoom could be different than on a phone versus then on a bad, in person. It can sound different. But the idea is that we will never lose that moment of a song that has changed or impactful of a moment. So in all forms of communication, if you can't be there in person, some sound that makes you resonate and think of a moment will never change, and the body will react to the mind of that song.
I love that. It's very true.
And Tami has this, when she describes how she looks at her company, she has this eloquent way of describing how she sees the potential in that person, even if the person has not yet recognized what they can be. And that kind of an advocate and sponsor to have around oneself, they are very fortunate, Tami, in your company.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. So
I feel very
so
blessed.
I know we'll. Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tribe.
Thank you for seeing. Because I think that's a very special gift that shows the positivity and the potential that you see. Someone what they can be, and you paint that picture for them, even if they, they're unable to see that, and that's very, very important. That kind of support and mentoring is very important. So I know we can be here for hours. We will very easily do that. And so any closing comments? I wanted to tie it back to where we started. We started with Dr. Meg J talking about, essential questions for your future self, right? Start imagining your future self, because that will help you to be kinder, to show empathy to where you are, and to progress in a way. And so for me, that in order to prepare for the future, we also have to know the journey we have undertaken, the past and the current, because that grounds us in terms of the transformation we have had so far and where we can be. So over to you, Tami.
I actually think that you said it so eloquently. And I really think, when you're stuck, look at how far you've come. That's really a great thing. And then close your eyes and imagine at least one of the dreams that you have, one of the goals you have. Really picture yourself achieving that and get it all the way into the emotion part, and it'll help you to stick with it even when it's tough. So this has been really fun today. Thank you.
Thank you.
It has. And I'd like to add on to what, if you go down even further, is the campfires, the legacy of your family, not only where you have come, but where has your family come from multi-generations in your past to where you'd like to see your generations of your family going in the future. So the idea is about the community. It's not about we learn today. It's not just about ourselves, but about the people we affect, the people we love, and the people we work with. So that is, I think, really valuable. And I really enjoyed this because it was so different, even all with the technical fun that we had with it. So thank you very much, Chitra, for hosting. I really appreciate it. So next month, it's going to be Lead by Example. Inclusion isn't enough. Press for parity and strive for excellence in everything. And I really think that has changed radically in the last little bit, if you think about that going on. So we're excited. But for today, let's all share a story, because I think what Chitra you have started is fantastic. Is if you get a video clip like we found with the construction, we found with the TED Talk with the lady of what that looks like, and we all just did a post on that, and you can put it out on YouTube or wherever you see these. I think it's valuable because we all learn more. We can all in a 1 second and a 1 minute video of something that we could share. I think it'd be exciting. So thank you all. Thank you. Everyone have a great month of August. Here we are. Please stay cool and don't get overheated. So thank everyone, and thank you all, and prayers to everyone on the council. Everyone's dealing with us, and we'll talk, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of
you.
summer.
Right, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.